Hi everyone, my name's Dave and welcome back to this Canva training video where we are going to have a look at layers, how to manipulate your layers when you have multiple things going on in the same design, and how to make sure that everything is on top of each other in the right way and you don't lose stuff. So I have 3 elements here. You may have more. I've got this nice kind of gradient background that we looked at last time. I've pulled in this shape that's like lots of like little dots, just that I found in elements that I quite enjoyed the look of. And then I've made some text and I've colored it like this kind of yellow and I've set it up here. And what I would like to do is I would like to have this as my background with this kind of like black border. I've made it black so you can see the white on it. So I'd like this as my background, and I'd like then this over my image, and then I would also like the text on top of that. But at the moment, as you can see here, the text is underneath my dots, and both of these are underneath my background, which isn't helpful at all. So this is how we change it. You can change this. There are a few methods of changing the and there are a few methods of changing your layers and making and moving things to the top and moving things to the bottom. So if we know that this needs to be at the back, we can select this item and we can right click on it and we go to layer and it goes center back. And there's also a keyboard shortcut for that as well. Or we can just send it back 1. So if we send it back 1 and come back, then we see that this is now, the text is now on top of it, which is good. But if we move this over here, it has sent it back behind that as well. So that's one way you can do it, is right click on it, but this is still over, this graphic is still over the text. So we could also do it on this graphic as well. So we hit right click, go to layer and send backward. And now it is behind the text, and let's see, and we are on top of this now as well. So that is helpful. That's what I'm kind of going for there. So that's one way of doing it. Let's just undo all of that, because there is another way of doing it. So if we come here, we want this at the back and we want this on top. Look, it's behind. So let's just make it bigger. We can go up here with this thing showing, and we can go to position. And what this does is it opens the position tab here, and you'll see that we have the same items, and we also have some different alignments as well. So we can center this graphic in the middle vertically and then in the middle horizontally. So let's do that with this as well. Let's put it in the middle and horizontal, but it's still behind. So with this selected, we can go backward or center the back, because we know it needs to be at the back. And then the same with our text. The text is behind our, let's just resize this so it fits in the box. It's behind our dots at the moment. But if we bring it forward, then it comes in front of the dots now as well, which is extra helpful. So you can do it like that. You can also, if you see across on the position thing, you also have layers. So for people who are a bit more visual and maybe you've got lots and stuff going on, you will actually be able to open up the layers. So this here is your canvas, the blank background here. So this is currently black. Let's just change this to white. So you can see, let's just change it. There we go. So that is our canvas. If you select an image and you put the image as the canvas, it will appear here. And then we have our square, we have our white dots, and then we have our yellow text here. Let's just all make all of this a bit bigger. So I've selected them all by clicking and dragging across them all, and I've selected them all. And we can see it a little bit more clearly. And if I want to change the where something is, I just drag and I can pull it down or put it up again. So you can easily affect the layers from here. But this is a nice visual way of finding it, of being able to sort your layers. So you can do it via 3 ways. So that is how you do layers and how you make sure that your things are in the correct positions. But there's also different things that you can do with layers. This is what I want to show you. So you can create some really nice stylized things by using layers and transparency. So I'm going to give you some few tips here. So there we go. Let's find this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this the background. So I'm going to actually, instead of making this the background, I'm going to go to my canvas itself. I'm going to pull the color and I'm going to pull the actual gradient. There we go. And then I will actually, let's change this shape to the circle because I liked how it looked before. So now this square has become a circle, and let's just put it directly in the middle of the design. There we go. And now I've got this thing here. So let's make this as wide as the page. There we are. And then let's move this into a kind of a place that I like. What do I like the look of? Something that's kind of balanced. That feels a little more balanced. And then actually what I would like to do is, because we've got a shape here, I would like these dots to be behind this circle. I think that will look nice. So I will go to my position and I will just drag my dots beneath the circle. So now the circle has some, it doesn't show the dots coming through, but the dots are still quite strong actually. So what I would like to do with the dots is kind of make them not white, but kind of lighter of the color underneath it. So I can go to here up to my transparency and I can just bring the transparency down to a level that I like. Because I want my text to be the main thing that people are seeing. I don't want it to be too busy, because that, you don't quite know what to look at. There's loads of nice dots everywhere. There's a big circle in the middle and there's some text, but it's all kind of competing for your attention. So actually, I want my text to be the main attention. So let's just add some nice texture by bringing this down. I think to about there. I think that looks nice. There we are. And now my text, I feel like probably needs something better here. Circle. Let's make it capitalize. Let's force capitalize and let's make it all on one line. Let's make this box the width. And actually, I don't like how the yellow interacts with this. So let's maybe we should change it to white again. So previously, this white text with the white dots. So if I click the white dots and I bring them right up again, that would not work together. It's too many of the same color. It's too strong. But bringing the opacity down and layering it behind stuff, it kind of creates this nice kind of textured effect on here. Let's make this a bit bigger as well. 230. There we go. And now I like how this is, but there are some nice kind of stylized, there's like a nice graphic design style that I quite like floated around the internet, which is kind of like a distressed look. It looks, you add kind of grainy effects. Heather in the office is a big lover of the grain effect. She would love to have it on everything, I think. So let's search for some grain, because you can actually do that in Canva. So let's have a look. If we come back, actually, if we scroll down, no, it's not in there, but that's okay. Let's search for grain. texture. And we'll search. Ah, yes, that's what I thought there was. There was an app. So I can use the app. Let's have a look. So apps are some cool things, and you can add text to your design. Let's open that. And I've got some different... you have to put it on an image. Interesting. Okay, let's go back. And let's search for grain texture. Instead of using the app, let's have a go down to some of these graphics. Let's have a look at some of these graphics and see what kind of texture. I want something that's fairly even, but not too distracting. I want it to be subtle, subtly noticeable. Probably that feels like it's most noticeably. So it adds a little bit of texture here. And now I can make this width of the page. I can just add some texture in. Actually, I don't quite like that it's black. So let's change the color of this. Just change it to kind of white. Actually, I don't like the look of that. So let's just delete that. And let's have a look for something else. What does this look like? Oh, it's got a border. I didn't realize that. It's okay. Oh, let's look at that. Right. This looks very black, like blocky, but it's the type of noise that I would like. So I've lifted that above this. But obviously, I can't see my design now. So let's play around with the transparency. So bring the transparency down here. And that adds a nice little kind of distressed look to my design. Now let's zoom in so you can see it a little bit more. So you can see I've got this kind of nice little distressed look to the design overall. So when you're looking at it overall, you see, okay, yeah, it looks kind of flatter. But using layers and transparency and layering things on top of each other can create some really interesting stylized looks. And these are some of the more kind of intermediate things that you can do. So let's have a look at this. Actually, I'd like, now that I've added this, I'd like the text to be a little bit more bold. Like I'd like it to not be feel as flat because everything has the same texture on it now. So let's go into position and we'll go to our layers and we can see where on our layers it is. This is over everything. So let's just drag it down beneath circle and see what difference that makes to our design. Okay, so now the circle text is actually really like bold, like it's much clearer, stands out a lot more, but I still get that nice texture. I wonder what happens if I bring it past my circle itself. So we've got like a really distressed textured background, but then the circle itself, and this is much more bold. What if I just put it on the background? See the dots now feel a lot better. They've kind of come off the page a little. So it's interesting just how using these layers and having textures overlaid on top of something changes the feel of a design. And using these layers wisely and using elements wisely like this can really create some really nice effects on any design that you create. So have a little play with that. And what I'd like you to do is I'm going to set you a task now. I would like for you to use layers and everything that you've learned so far to create a verse image. So this is something that I've already made. So I've already made something like this. Let's go back home. You may have seen it in passing, but I'll open this up. And this is what I have. This is what I made earlier. So I've got a verse of mine I like. I've changed the font here. I've got Psalm 139 verse 14 from the NIV version. I've got these dots. I've also got, let's open up there's a position so you can see what I've got, exactly what I've got. So I've got two text boxes. I've got Let's do fit so you can see everything. I've got 2 text boxes. So one with the verse reference in and one with the verse in. I've got this texture that I had before. And then I've also got a line, which is elbowed, which I've kind of moved around. So I've created a line, like I've got a graphical element, and then I've also got these dots, the same dots, and I've put them kind of within this line. So then anything without the line, I've like used the line to kind of border it so that there are no dots on the outside. So it kind of creates a different feel. And I've layered this so that the text is underneath the texture, but you can kind of play around and add texture on top if you want. So what I'd like you to do is to create a verse image. It can be square or it can be this kind of shape, but I'd like you to have at least 2 text boxes. I'd like you to have at least 1 shape, and that can be like a shape or a line. And I'd like you to have kind of a texture. So search for a texture, which you play with the opacity with, and then some sort of like kind of graphic, like these circles here, or it can be something else. So if you want to search for the circle one, you can do. You want to use those, but I want you to kind of use your creativity. So just have a play around with all of this and create a nice little verse image post that has some shapes and some texture and some text on it, and have some fun with it. See what you can make, play around with the colors and the sizing and the opacity. And if we're having a training session and you're watching this before the training session, bring it and so I can see it and we can talk about it. If you have any questions about the process as well, you can bring those questions to me as well. If you're watching this after the fact and you'd still like me to kind of comment and have a look at it and you still want to share it with me, then you can do it via my email. It's david.harris@blackburn.anglican.org. I'll also post it in the description of this video as well. And I'd be very, very happy to take a look and to see what you come up with. So go ahead, do that task, have some fun. And then when you're ready and you finish that, come on to the next video where we are going to go over all of the AI features that are within Canva.